All right, we're going to do some rational function stuff, and I'm going to put the problems first. So what we're going to be finding today are called the zeros, which are also your x-intercepts, two different names for the same thing. Okay? And we're going to be finding what's called the vertical asymptotes. And I'll explain what those are more as the video goes on. But I want you to find the zeros and vertical asymptotes for this problem. This problem. And this problem. So I want you to find those, okay? And you'll turn that in to me when you come into class. So zeros are x-intercept. How we find them. Zeros make the numerator equal 0. So for some of you guys, you can just look at it and say, oh, the numerator, what number needs to go in there to make it equal to 0? Some of you guys just set it equal to 0 is a little bit easier for you. So if I have something like I'm just going to take my top and I'm going to set it equal to 0 and I'm going to solve for x. That is my 0 or my x-intercept. Okay? Vertical asymptotes make the denominator equal 0. So using that same example, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, set it equal to 0, and solve it. And that's it. That's my vertical asymptote. Now, what do they actually mean? Well, here's what they actually mean, okay? I have a graph that looks like this. This is my y, this is my x. The x-intercepts or the zeros are where it crosses this line. So my graph is going to be it depends, but it could look something like this, okay? So my zeros would be right here, and right here. The vertical asymptote, what that means is it's something that the graph gets really, really close to but never touches. So an asymptote is a value that your graph gets really, really close to but never touches. So on the example I just did, I had x equals 9 as a vertical asymptote. So that means that there's a line right here that the graph is going to get really, really close to, but it's not going to touch. So if my graph is going like this, like the one I just did, right here it's going to go almost completely vertical when it gets there. And that's what the graph is doing to us. So those are the zeros and the vertical asymptotes. Now if I have something like this, I have two choices. My first choice is just set this equal to 0. It's a quadratic, so I use the quadratic formula. And I'm just going to simplify. Square root of 4 is 2. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. So my answers are going to be these two. Now my other choice is to try to factor this guy. So I can factor it and say, what are two things that multiply to 8 and add to 2? Sorry, add to 6, which would be 4 and 2. And then I can take each of those and set them equal to 0. And I get the exact same answer either way. So I'm going to do that same thing with my denominator, except for I'm going to factor it. Two things that multiply to negative 12 and add to negative 4. So those are my vertical asymptotes. And that's all that we're going to find today.